Awesome.
Greetings, everyone. This is Payman Lorenzo, your host, your friend, your coach of the Leaders Without podcast. Today for episode 200, believe it or not, 222, 22, 21, along those lines. I have a really good guest for you, my new good friend. And wow, Anne has such an incredible story that it would be worthy of not just a books, but a few books, but a movie, especially, and I'm going to talk about it in a moment. She's originally from beautiful Kenya. She's based currently half the time in Colorado, half the time in Florida. Right now, she's currently talking to us from Florida on the beach. And then, as I said, wow. While being based in Kenya, she worked first as a model, and then she got her dream job as a crew for Emirates based in Dubai, and that allowed her to travel the world. We were talking about Brazil. That's one place I'm going next, and she said she's been there in São Paulo. So, and then something magical happened. Not only traveling opened the world to her, but also it opened her own world because that's how she met her husband. And the line of duty. As I said, that alone can be not only a book, but a movie. Seriously, you should write a script and try to get it funded. And I'm sure someone's gonna make it happen.
Oh yeah, I should do that, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And then, growing up, what she's really passionate about is with water because she said something that was really touching. That growing up back in Kenya, her family couldn't afford water, and there was no clean water around there. And at times it was hard for them to get water growing up. And now she's very passionate about water. She's looking to not only to get, but to provide the best water, not only for family, but people in need, especially back home in Kenya. And that's what she's passionate about, anything to do with water. I love her motto, her mission, her vision, which is she's a messenger of inspiration. So a lot we can unpack. We can do an entire season, me and her, with so many things, topics to talk to. Oh, and she's also a fellow podcaster. She has a podcast as well, and so there's so many things. But anyways, enough of me rambling. Anne, welcome to the show, my friend.
Oh, thank you for giving me this opportunity. It's just an honor. It's so special to come and feature on your podcast. The name Leaders with a Heart is just so magnetizing. It's just special. It's a powerful name.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. Yes. So that's a great segue because I don't know if you remember, one other thing I mentioned to you about the kind of interviews I like to have on my podcast is that I like to have a look under the hood, so to speak, to see what's in your heart. Hence the name Leader with a Heart, because I want to have a heart-to-heart conversation. I want to know who's with each and every single one of my guests. Sure, we're going to talk about the business, your business, but what I'm mostly interested in, what my audience is interested in is who's the person behind the title, who's Anne as a human being first and foremost. And that's what we're going to be exploring first. So tell us, Anne, for people who don't know you, who's Anne as a person and as a human being?
Wow, that's a very powerful question. So back then, when you'd ask me, who is Anne, I'd be so much caught up in these professions. Oh, I was an ex-model. Oh, I was an ex-flight attendant. Oh, I helped in critical incident stress management. But who is Anne? I'm a conscious spiritual being who chose to have a human experience in this beautiful planet that I chose to call home.
Beautiful. Love that.
Yeah.
So we're going to start off, I'd like to ask you a series of rapid fire questions to further get to know you as a person. Ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right. So tell us, Anne, what makes you happy as a person?
What makes me happy as a person is the gift of health. When I wake up and my husband's healthy, my kids are smiling, my kids are healthy, and just the freedom of getting to have meals every day with my family, apart from the times when my husband goes on business trips, that for me is just joy.
Absolutely beautiful. Love that. What makes you smile?
What makes me smile is the fact that I know all my needs are met. Everything else is just an illusion. When I look into that and I look at so many people don't have even their basic needs met, especially where I come from in East Africa, in Kenya. So just the fact that I have my basic needs met, oh, this is just a smile. That's why I'm always smiling most of the time.
Beautiful. Yes, we always need to be grateful we need to focus on what we have, not on what we don't have.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because people would kill to be in our shoes and live even our worst day, you know?
True.
Absolutely. Now let's take the happiness factor a couple of notches higher. What makes your soul come alive? What sets your heart on fire in a good way?
What sets my heart on fire? Knowing that I'm a messenger of inspiration. What sets my heart on fire is whatever I say, whatever I choose to write, I know it's going to be a blessing into someone else's life. What sets my heart on fire, because what makes me so inspired is when someone comes to me and tells me, and what you wrote or what you said is exactly what I wanted to hear.
Mhm.
That sets my heart on fire, and that just motivates me to keep going and keep inspiring more and more people.
Beautiful. I agree with you totally. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, what makes you sad and angry?
I try not to be sad, but of course, we cannot avoid certain emotions. But what makes me sad and angry is the corruption.
Oh, yes.
The corruption, like especially where I come from. When I know that, the universe is so abundant, like we have so much abundance in the universe. Like in Africa, we have abundance when it comes to like farming, and there's so much value in Africa, but the corruption when it comes to the politicians, this just makes me angry. I'm like, oh my goodness, what can I do about it? To just make the less fortunate in society just because a few are corrupt and like they are selfish. So the rest have to suffer. Now, this makes me sad.
I agree with you, especially given the incredible, phenomenal resources Africa is blessed with. Africa is the richest continent in the world in terms of natural resources, in terms of
Yep.
human power. They're extreme.
Yep.
People in Africa are very hardworking, very smart. If they are allowed to use their skills, they can tremendously become not just they can go in one generation from the poorest continent to the richest continent in one generation. Easy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's my dream. I hope to see that one day within my lifetime, because I want to see everybody soar and use the full potential and not being kept below them by a few greedy and corrupt,
Oh
selfish
yeah,
people.
right. Yep.
We're on the same page. Awesome. Now tell us, what scares you?
Apart from snakes and spiders.
I was about to say that, but and
Yeah,
lions,
yeah. I'm like, no, I'm like scared, I'm really scared of snakes and spiders. And of course, lions, because in Colorado we have mountain lions.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, we have mountain lions in Colorado. What makes me scared is if I would die tomorrow and I do not fully live my life.
Oh, yes.
That makes me scared. If I did not fully go for what I desired.
Speaking of that, what is the one thing you need to have for you to feel that, hey, I'm fulfilling my mission in this life?
The one thing that I need to have is to get to a position, and this is my dream, get to a position where I contribute more into making others lead a better life. I want to empower women, especially in Africa. I'm talking about it.
Oh,
I'm
yes.
getting goosebumps. I want to empower women, especially in Africa. I want to not just go for holiday, like going for holiday in Africa. I want to combine it with empowering and inspiring women and orphans and making them believe that there is a way, you can make a way out of no way. Just because you're an orphan or just because you're a widow does not mean that's the end of it.
Totally.
Oh, that's my mission and that's my dream.
Love that. And may God give you and bless you with everything you need to make that happen.
Yes.
It's my wish for you.
And so be it.
Thank you. Indeed. Amen. Now,
Yeah.
what would you say is your number one personal superpower?
My number one superpower since a little girl is intuition.
Oh, wow. Okay. At one point, did you realize that you have something special because of your intuition?
Actually, the person who made me realize that was my mom, my late dearest mom. God bless her soul. And as a little girl, I remember I would tell my mom, I just don't feel comfortable around this friend of yours. I don't think she's a nice person. She didn't do anything bad to me, but I don't think she's a nice person. Or I think this is not a good way we should do this, or we should not stay here. And it turned out later on, my mom used to come back and say, oh my goodness, you said this lady was not a nice person. I just found out crazy things that this lady is doing. One time I told my dad, I think we need to move out of here and go into a different city because I'm just sick of seeing people around us in this area just dying. And my dad was like, wow, so where should we go to? So I told him we need to go to the capital city. We need to go back to the capital city. And he's like, oh, I just applied for a job 2 weeks ago. How did it? He was like, oh my goodness, how did it connect? This girl is telling me, okay, let's go to the capital city. So yeah, intuition was my superpower, and it's still my superpower.
Love that. That's amazing. Now let's switch gears. Let's move on.
Yes.
You kind of like traveling, right?
Oh, I love traveling.
All right. So now let me take you down a different type of traveling because we can do an entire show just on traveling between me and you. What would you say? Go back to, I want to take you down memory line when you were a young girl growing up. You know, when we're kids, people around us, family, teachers, friends always ask us, so Anne, what do you want to become when you grow up? What was your answer as a little girl to that question?
Oh, I love this question. Because it's a chapter that I wrote in the book Miraculous with Abigail. The chapter was called I Had a Dream.
Okay.
And I remember as a little girl, because my late dearest mom was a teacher, and my dad was more of a sales and marketing for different companies. And when they would ask us, what would you like to be when you grow up? And my sisters were like, doctor. And I have a sister who's a doctor. I have a sister who's a pharmacist. I have another sister who's a nurse. So, Anne, what would you like to be when you grow up? And I go like, I want to be a stewardess. And I would see the expression on my parents' face like, stewardess? Give us a lawyer, engineer, doctor, all these titles. And I was so adamant, I want to be a stewardess. And then later on, my mom tried to encourage me, and she was like, you know what? You're very good in socializing, so maybe you should be a lawyer. I'm like, no, I want to be a stewardess. And every time, like, I would see a helicopter flying around, I would just stop and gaze at it because this was just fascinating for me. I love to look up in the skies. And then I was like fascinated of the different time zones with different continents. When we're learning geography in school, I'm like, oh my goodness, it's fascinating. Now in the United States, it's night, and in Africa, it's during the day. Oh my goodness, how fascinating is this? And maybe in Asia, it's early morning. So yes, so that was my wish. I want to be a stewardess.
Beautiful. What gave you that desire to be a stewardess? Was that, were you inspired by someone in your family, or what gave you that idea in the first place?
I think it was just a calling. I think it was just an intuition that I knew for sure. When you know deep within that this is what you deeply desire. And without a doubt, because I started being fascinated of stewardesses as young as 5 years old.
Wow.
So it's something I had a passion for. And when I saw advertisements for like the local airline in Kenya Airways, I just found stewardesses so elegant and poised, and I wanted to do that. Yeah.
Beautiful. We're going to talk about that in a moment, but now let's stick to when you were a few more moments to when you were growing up as a young girl. What was your relationship with school? Did you love school or did you hate school growing up?
I loved school. And my mom was a teacher. So she started teaching us as early as when we knew how to speak and write. So I started being in school basically as early as 1 year old, like at home, because my mom would teach us like the basics at home. So I really loved school.
Beautiful. What was your favorite subject in school?
My favorite subject was English.
Okay, wow. I was expecting geography. Okay.
No, I love geography as well, but my top subject was English.
Wow, awesome. And what was the subject you did not like at all?
Oh my goodness. I did not like physics. I did
Oh,
not like
really?
it with a passion. I was like, ugh.
Why? Was it the teacher? Was it the material or
Oh, oh, bless this teacher, but the teacher was always drunk. Like he would come to
drunk?
class. Yeah, he would come to class literally smelling of alcohol.
Oh, wow.
And and then he would tell us just to read the book and write notes ourselves. So this just made me hate physics. And I had a lot of things that I did not understand, and no one could explain it to us. We just had to like try to duplicate it ourselves. So this just made me hate history, hate physics.
Wait a second. Didn't the school, the school management, the principal, or the parents say anything that, hey, we need to have this teacher either change his behavior or we need him to be replaced? Because that's not
Well,
acceptable, especially for kids.
yeah, well, we report. Well, he was not staggering, but you could smell
Oh,
it. You know, when he passes next to you,
yeah.
you could smell the alcohol, and then he would just let us do our own thing. Okay, here's the book. Open page 20. Okay, this is what you read and write your own notes. So this was just, yeah. And the head teacher, the principal, seemed not to doing anything about it. I'm sure they smelt it as well when they were in the teacher's staff room. So, yeah.
Wow, that is crazy. That is the first thing for everything. Wow, awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, what was your very first job?
This is kind of, I would not say emotional, but it's kind of touchy.
Uh-huh.
My very first job, I was 18 years old. I was the second born in a family of six. Well, we were seven, but one of my brother passed away.
Okay,
So I was the second born, and my parents invested all their money to take my elder sister to the UK. Because back in Kenya, taking a child to study in the United Kingdom or United States is like super.
sure.
So when it came to my time, my parents did not have money to take me to university or college. So my dad spoke to one of his friends if I could like just apply the little computer knowledge that I had in this insurance brokerage company. So I was kind of like a mini assistant to the managing director, which was not really like an assistant because I
Mhm.
was not being paid the job on the amount that an assistant deserved to have. So
Mhm.
yeah, that was my first job. Yeah.
Do you remember how much you were getting paid for that first job?
Uh, $35 a month.
What?
Yes, that was 3,500 Kenya shillings a month. That was enough for me to only pay my transport back and forth. And my mom would give me money to like buy my lunch.
And how many hours were you working for that money?
From 8 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock in the evening,
Wow,
Monday to
that's serious.
Friday,
How long did you
$35
how
a
long did you
month.
stay there?
I stayed there for, I would say, 8 months.
Wow.
And then my aunt managed to like help me get another job that was paying me $100 a month.
It's a
And
big
this was
improvement.
like, yeah, that was an improvement, of course,
Yeah.
$75 on top.
3 times more, yeah.
Yes, and this was for a beverage company called Schweppes. It was our competitor to
Yeah.
Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
So that was paying me $100 a month, which was kind of okay because it covered my transport and
Sure.
it covered like my lunch. And for Kenyan standards, that was kind of okay for like a teenage girl. That was kind of okay.
What would you say was, I'm getting curious now. What is the average salary in Kenya?
The average salary in Kenya for most people, like with this economy, I would say $500
Okay.
to $1,000 a month.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that is for people who have to struggle, like people are hustling. It's
Okay.
$500 to $1,000. But people are like middle class, it will stem anywhere from like 2,500 to like $5,000 a month.
Okay,
People are
that's
like
good.
comfortable, yeah. But
Livable.
people are hustling, it's $500 to
So
$1,000.
for someone that's just fresh from school, graduates, like a newly graduated person, what is usually the average salary for these people?
If the person is lucky enough to get a job in a nice place, then they would get based on their profession and their studies, they'll get anything from $3,000 if they're lucky to get a good job.
Awesome. Now, let's talk about what you're really passionate about, which is, you said, your first job. First of all, what came first, working as a model or working for Emirates?
Working as a model came first.
How did that came up? Tell us about the, how did you get into that? And tell us all the good stuff.
Well, when I was in a boarding school, in my high school, it was a boarding school. So every Sunday we had like an entertainment where we had to like entertain ourselves, like as girls in boarding school, just to kill time. So some girls were good in like comedy and making jokes. Some girls are good in sports. Some girls are good in like acting, different roles of drama. And most girls started calling me model because of the way I used to walk. And I didn't even realize that I was walking like a catwalk model back in school as a teenager. I didn't even know, but it came naturally. So anyway, so that's how I started having a passion for it. And then when I was 18 and I was only earning $35 a month, so I wanted to supplement that by doing something else. So modeling was more of like, not just a hobby and something I'm passionate about, but to give me as well an extra source of income.
Beautiful. How long did you do that?
Oh, I started modeling at 19 and I continued modeling in Dubai part-time when I had my off days in Dubai. So I did it till I was 26.
So you're flying from, I guess, from Nairobi to Dubai on a regular basis?
Yes, like we were based in Dubai. Emirates Emirates was based in Dubai. So
I mean before Emirates, we're talking about your modeling career. So were you commuting from Nairobi, Kenya to Dubai as a model, or the commuting came after?
No, I got the jobs in Dubai as a model once I was in Dubai. Once I was living in Dubai, yes.
So how long did you work as a model?
In Dubai or in Kenya?
In total.
In total, 6 years.
Okay. So how did you transition from, how did you get the opportunity to work for Kenya? You mentioned earlier that you started working, maybe I'm wrong, but you said you saw an ad for the Kenyan Airlines. So did you start first with a Kenyan airline and then to Emirates, or you went straight to Emirates?
I applied for Kenya Airways. They called me for the job and they said, okay, we're going to call you back in about 3 weeks and let you know if you've qualified for the job. So they did not call me back. And during these 3 weeks, Emirates also put an advertisement on the local newspaper that they're coming to recruit in Kenya. So anyway, so I applied for it. I got called for the interview and Emirates called me fast before Kenya Airways. So for Emirates, it was a yes. Yeah.
So it's Kenya Airways loss. Yeah. Well, too bad for them. Okay. How did you find, so before you even, so I can imagine you were, once you get accepted and hired, you must have been, jumping with excitement. So how was your expectation before starting the work? And then once you started the work, were you as excited, or you say, well, that's not what I was expecting?
Oh my goodness. I was so excited. I remember I was in tears because I was wow, this is a dream come true. And Emirates pays so well. They have a good package. And I was
great airline.
I was going to travel around the world and accommodation fully paid, health insurance fully paid. I mean, it could not have been better. So when they called me and told me, okay, you've gotten the job, I was so excited. I was in tears, but at the same time, I was in pain because I was still healing from the burn on my feet. Because I had a burn on my feet. So I was like, okay, but I got to tell them the truth because during the interview, they say they don't want any scars as stewardesses. So I was like, okay, I just got to say the truth. I'm excited, but I got to say the truth. So I told the lady, okay, just so you know, I had an incident 3 weeks ago. I had a burn on my feet when I was carrying hot boiling water. And is it okay if I come to Dubai, even though the scar is healing? And she's like, you know what? It's okay. We'll take you with your scar.
Wow. Awesome.
Like, oh my God. I was like in tears. I was excited. I was grateful. My mom was like grateful. My dad was like, oh my goodness, this is like a blessing.
Time out 1 second. One question came just to mind. You say, a few minutes ago, you said when you were a young girl, when you said that you wanted to become a flight attendant, your parents
Yeah.
were not happy. But once you started getting hired by Emirates, one of the best airlines in the world, how did they
Yeah.
react to that?
Oh, they were happy because they didn't have any other choice because they couldn't take me to university. So even though they wanted me to go for all this doctor lawyer, but they could not pay the university and college fees for the doctor or lawyer. So for them, this was like, okay, at least she has something to do.
Sure.
At least they supported my mission. And I was like, and I reminded them and I said, see, when I was young, this is what I told you I wanted to do.
Told you, Mom.
I told you. I told you.
Don't
and then
stop me now. Don't ever
Right.
try.
Right. I told you I am going. I'm going to Dubai. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you went to Dubai, how was it for you? Was it easy for you to adapt to your new environment, to new country, maybe a new culture, new reality?
It was, as much as it was exciting, but that was the first time I went on an international plane. So it was kind of easy for me to adapt because I was a very social person. I was easy like to make friends with. But what shocked me was the heat in Dubai.
Oh, yes.
And then something else that I had to adjust with, even though we have Muslims in Kenya, is like saying, like waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock with the sound of, the calling
Prayers
from the
called.
mosque.
Yeah.
Yeah, the prayer is called. So I had to get used to that.
So basically, you didn't need to have an alarm clock. You had the natural alarm clock
no.
around you.
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, wow. So what was the one thing from Dubai that you really fell in love with the most?
Oh, one thing that I fell in love with is how aesthetic Dubai is.
Oh, yes.
The buildings, the 5-star hotels. It's just so aesthetic, and the services is just so impeccable. Like it's like high standard, and that is what fascinated me so much of Dubai.
Yeah, Dubai is like a mirage, like a dream in every aspect.
Yes.
It's like fantasy land. Yes.
Yes, it is. Yes.
What was the one? Was there one thing from Dubai that you really did not like at all?
The heat in summer. I did not like it. You come out of the plane, you come from like winter in Europe, and then you land in Dubai and the heat right on your face and you're like, oh my goodness.
It's like you're walking inside an oven, right?
Oh yeah.
I know that. I felt that in other places. Yes.
Yeah, that's the only thing I didn't like.
Because I remember, well, I've never been to Kenya yet, but I have a few Kenyan friends that told me that I was chatting with them not long ago, but they were complaining that in the month of June, July, it was cold. And Kenya said, what do you mean? Kenya in June, July is cold? Well, it's not cold, but it's not warm neither. It's like 15, 20 degrees.
Yeah, that is winter for us. Well, we don't have winter officially, but that's the coldest season in Kenya. June, July, it's like freezing for Kenyans. You'll find Kenyans in cords, they'll wear boots and, like all wrapped up.
That's fascinating to see Kenya to have the winter, at least the coldest month in June, July, because wow, awesome. How about the people in Dubai? How are the people in Dubai? Because I heard mixed things about the people about there.
Well, in my experience, Dubai is very cosmopolitan.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the best experiences in Dubai. I made amazing friends in Dubai, like friends that I would call sisters in Dubai. So it was a great place to be in, and getting to learn about different cultures, getting to learn, about Japanese food, getting to learn about Lebanese. I have a lot of Lebanese friends. Getting to learn about their local foods in Dubai and how they lived and their history. And this was just so incredible. Like if you come together, especially as crew, you're on a flight and there's a German, there's a French, there's an Italian, there's a Kenyan, there's a South African, there's Chinese, Japanese. This was just amazing.
So when you were working for Emirates, what destination were you most flying to?
Oh, I was flying all over.
United so you didn't have a dedicated line, a dedicated destination?
Yeah, we were flying everywhere. Yeah, this was amazing because this was an opportunity for all the crew to see different parts of the world. So I saw different continents.
What was your favorite place to go to?
Oh, my favorite place was New Zealand.
Oh, wow. There's a direct flight to Dubai to New Zealand?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Dubai, Auckland, Dubai, Christchurch, direct flights.
How long is that? Like 20-hour
About
flight?
13 hours nonstop.
13. Wow.
Yeah, 1-3. It's not so long, yeah.
I would have expected a lot more, but wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, New Zealand is amazing. Wow.
It's beautiful.
How would you compare working in Kenya versus working in Dubai?
Working in Dubai was more money for me. So for me,
Sure,
it
absolutely.
was
Yeah.
and then it gave me more opportunities to rise because I used the money I was earning as crew to study things that my parents could not afford to pay for. So for me, that was an opportunity as compared to if I would be in Kenya, I would not have been where I am today if I didn't get the opportunity to fly for Emirates.
Absolutely. How easy was it to interact with the locals?
Oh, it was kind of easy because Swahili is the East African language. There's so many words in Swahili that are similar to Arabic.
Yes.
So for me, it was kind of easy to interact with the locals. And then in Emirates, they taught us basics of like speaking certain like words with locals. So it was fun.
Okay. That's interesting. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Because I heard that especially in the Emirates, the locals are kind of, stick to themselves. It's not easy to make friendships with them. Did you also notice that as well, or for you it was very, very open?
Well, we had locals working for Emirates. So the locals that we had working for Emirates were like super friendly. But of course, if you go outside the Emirates umbrella, the locals that I would meet in the mall, they were not so friendly. They were kind of like closed. They were not so social. They were so much to themselves.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. A friend of mine is currently in Hong Kong, also from Canada, is trying hard to convince me to move with him.
Yeah.
For his real estate business to Dubai, but for some reason Dubai, I don't know. Maybe I'll go in and check it out at least. All right.
Well, I hear now it's getting so expensive. Like one of my friends just moved from Dubai and went back to Lebanon. Yeah, Dubai is a beautiful place, but I wouldn't love to raise my kids there.
Speaking of expenses, how much do you think would be needed to have a comfortable quality of lifestyle in Dubai per month, roughly speaking? I'm not talking anything extravagant, but to have your own place, say a 1-bedroom, especially if you're a single person or even with a couple, say 1-bedroom, be comfortable, not and going to restaurants from time to time. And
I would say $10,000.
Wow. Okay. That expensive, eh? Okay.
I would say if you want to be comfortable, if you want to socialize, if you want to dine in the 5 stars, $10,000 a month.
Oh yes, easy. Now, let's move into probably the highlight of this as far as the what you told me. How did you meet your husband?
Wow. Okay. So it was like it was 7 years after I was flying for Emirates. So it was on a direct flight from New York to Dubai.
Okay.
So he was my passenger and he boarded from New York, getting back to Dubai. And of course, during the flight, he was busy with his book, reading his book, enjoying reading his book. So I was serving him, but he was like a very, very great passenger, like very polite, very just making the crew life easy, not those demanding passengers. So anyway, so at the end of the flight, what we usually do if a passenger is like extremely nice, we give them an extra box of like chocolates that we have in first class or business class.
That's good to know for me next time I fly Emirates. Okay. Thank you for that tip. Okay.
So anyway, so I gave him an extra box of Godiva chocolates. So just like, okay, we really enjoyed having you on board. And he was a frequent flyer with Emirates. So at the end of the flight, as he was disembarking, he gave me his business card.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the rest is history, as they say.
Yes. Well, I didn't call him for 6 months. For at least 6 months, I
Why?
didn't call him. I just don't know. I just didn't call him because I was a little bit kind of not paranoid, but I was at that point where I said, if I'm to get into a relationship, I want this man to be my husband. I just don't want to like jump into a relationship, then it doesn't work. So I was giving myself space from the previous relationship that I had. And I wanted to take my time. I wanted to like be really, really sure. So anyway, so most of the time, the business cards that we have as crew, we just throw them in the trash can, like on the flight. But for whatever reason, I kept this business card. And after 6 months, you won't believe it, I found it on my dressing table.
Wow.
And I was like, holy moly, what is this cat doing here? I didn't notice it for 6 months, but all of a sudden now, boom, it's right there.
Did you remember who it was?
So
Did you remember?
I saw his name on the business card, but I kind of remembered, of course, the features.
Okay.
So I was like, maybe this is a sign I need to call him. And that's how it started.
So you called him, and then next time he was in Dubai, you guys met, or this is how it started?
Yes. So I called him, but he was not in Dubai at that time. He was in a business meeting. So when he came to Dubai, he was like, okay, I'm in Dubai. I arrived in Dubai. Are you ready to meet? Like, boom, hey, no wasting time. You want to meet? Do, you know?
So when you called him, did
So
he
anyway,
recognize you? Did you remember you?
yes, he remembered me.
Wow.
And then he said, there's a song from Elton John, but I never knew her name.
Beautiful. Yes.
Yes, exactly. So he reminded me of that song. And yeah, it was very special. So when I look at that memory, that is one of the things that usually makes me so, so happy and grateful that I said yes to Emirates, because Emirates, I always say Emirates gave me a husband.
Gave you the world.
Right.
And more than one ways. So once you guys started dating, when did you realize, hey, this man is the one for me?
I would say 3 months into it.
Wow.
I felt it. I knew it was, boom, it was arriving. Yeah. And 6 months into it, proposal came in, an engagement. So it went pretty fast.
Pretty fast and furious, you know?
Yes.
Wow, that is definitely, one of the coolest stories I've heard on my podcast. And that's definitely not only book worthy, but a movie. Seriously.
Yeah. My friends were always making fun. My friends were like, okay, you met your husband on a flight. He proposed to you on a flight. So are you guys getting married on a flight? Yes, he did.
Tell us about that. How did that happen? Where were you guys going?
Oh my goodness. So it was the first trip where he was going to meet my parents in Kenya, and he had never been to Africa. Anyway, so we were heading back to Nairobi. We were on a flight to Nairobi, and it was on December the 13th, 2008. And it was a Friday 13th. We had a flight on Friday the 13th. So first of all, the flight was delayed. And then we were like, oh my goodness, we really need to go to Nairobi because we just wanted to go just for the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, come back by Monday. Anyway, so the flight was supposed to leave at 2 p.m. It ended up being delayed to 7 p.m. So he was our frequent flyer. So we had access to the lounge. So we were at the lounge. So we had access to all this nice food. And then later on, we get at the boarding gates, and then the ground staff calls us on the side. And I'm like, oh my goodness, now what? Are they like offloading us? And the ground staff said, no. We are upgrading you to first class.
Wow.
And I'm like, whoa, after all these delays and Friday the 13th. Anyway, so we got on board, was upgraded to first class. So we were sitting in first class. So right after takeoff, he decides to go to the bathroom and it takes too long. And I'm like, but the flight purser, the cabin service director was my friend, because at that time I was a cabin service director as well for Emirates. And I was like, oh my goodness, let me go check on him in the bathroom. What's going on? Anyway, so just when I wanted to rise up, then he walks from the bathroom. He was dressed in a nice tuxedo suit.
Oh,
he had a tray. He had a tray from the crew, and he had the engagement ring on the tray.
Wow. Did you have one of the crew to film that for you? that
Oh
moment?
no, they didn't film it, but they took a few photos. Yes.
Oh, that should have been filmed. Okay.
Yes.
Wow, that is beautiful. Wow. Engage in the air, you know? Wow.
Yes.
Wow, that is definitely worthy of a movie. Seriously, Anne. Seriously, that is the coolest story I've heard in a long time.
Yeah, it was amazing. When I think about it, it's just special.
Oh, indeed it is.
Yeah.
Wow. So now, so how long after that you moved from Dubai to the US?
We moved after 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, because his company is based in the US. So we moved back to the US.
Okay. So in the meantime, you still kept to working for Emirates in the meantime.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I was still working for Emirates. Yes.
All right. Beautiful. Wow. What a story. So
Yes.
glad we got to talking today. Now, let's switch gears. You know, there's a saying that
Yeah.
says, change your story, change your life. And by story, I mean what we tell ourselves in our head all day long. So when you,
Mhm.
Anne, at your lowest point in life, or at any time that you were in a low and a dark place,
Mhm.
what did you do to change your story, to change your life? How did you do it? Did you do it to the help of friends, family, relatives, mentors, books, videos? Tell us the process you used to change your story inside of you, to change your reality around you.
Well, I read a lot of books,
Mhm.
but as well, I had a special woman in my life who was my godmother when I was growing up. And he always motivated me and told me never give up no matter what.
Mhm.
So, how I change my story and change my life is telling myself whenever I get caught up in a situation, I tell myself, and this too shall pass.
Love that.
A
Indeed.
storm is not permanent. The storm becomes still at some point. I tell myself, these too shall pass, but I don't run away from the emotions because I always tell myself there's a reason why everything happens. And at times, challenges come to our life for a reason. It comes to our life to make us learn, to make us grow, to make us evolve. So if there's something that I'm encountering, I always say my guides and my angels, and because I believe I'm always guided and protected. They will not give me something that I cannot handle.
Absolutely.
So this too shall pass. This has always been like a powerful mantra that has really helped me.
I love that. And just like the saying says, the night is darkest just before dawn,
Right.
or the storm is the roughest just before it clears.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So wow, love that.
Yep.
Now, let's talk about let's talk about your impact. Let's talk about all the good you're doing in the world. Tell us about your business. What are you doing in the world to that is impactful around you?
What I'm doing in the world is to spread the passion of clean water, clean life, and how water is vital for our health, how quality drinking water is so, so super vital for our health. And that's why I'm passionate about Kenyan water, which is from a Japanese product that is completely alkaline, hydrogen rich, antioxidant rich water. And especially from my history with water, that's why I'm so passionate in sharing the impact this water has to people. And then the reason why I'm so passionate about it, it's not just because it's clean water, clean life, and top high quality that has gotten so many awards globally, but it's because the community that I joined, like community of the women that I joined that are so passionate about this water, what they do is the leader in this community, they've partnered with Charity Water, which helps drill well in Africa and
Mm,
Asia and the poor countries.
love that.
So when I look at being connected to something that is giving back to society, for me, that is just fulfilling.
I love that. Wow.
Yeah.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
So tell us about your business. What exactly do you do in your business?
What I do is supporting women, like purpose-driven women, to learn how powerful this water is and how they can use a three-step formula by being themselves, their personal brand, and sharing how this water can impact so many lives. So teaching them the 3 steps, like especially as busy mamas, like you can do it through automation. You don't have to do everything yourself. You don't have to like hustle everything yourself. By partnering with these ladies in Australia, where we have digital business specialists closing the sales on our behalf. So I don't have to like overload myself doing all the heavy lifting myself. And the high ticket, the water, the Kenyan water, it's a high ticket, high impact water, which means high profit. So it's a supplemental income, especially for mamas, busy mamas.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just incredible. And creating your own personal brand behind who you truly are based on your values.
How much is that product?
The Kenyan water itself, it's $4,980 US dollars, which are, yeah, with the extra taxes and stuff, $5,000, slightly $5,000 plus. So yeah, that's how much it is. But what happens is not the 5,000 goes to you, you get compensated based on what you sell.
So what does it exactly do? Is this like a machine that cleans and filters water that you can keep in your house, and then you can get your family cleaner water than the regular water, even for example, compared to bottled water?
Yeah, it's not just a filter, it's a machine. You put it next to your sink. And then they also have a machine for the shower. So what it does, it's not just a filter, it's an ionizer.
Okay.
So it's electrolyzed reduced water, and it has at least 7 pH levels of water. So you can either choose to press if you want drinking water, or if you want cleaning water for cleaning the surfaces on your house. So of course it helps you save from cleaning products. If you want like water for mixing with formula for the babies, if you want cleansing water for the face. So it has like different features, different pH levels of water for different purposes.
Okay, what are some of the main benefits for the health of someone that's using that?
Some of the benefits is helping your body get to an alkalized state, because so many people don't know that the more acidic your body is, the more diseases you're inviting into your body.
Sure.
But it helps alkalize your body. And then, of course, it's super good for the skin. And it's super good. Like some people had gut issues, and because they started drinking alkalized water, their gut issues completely went away. Or some people had skin issues, they started using it and they were just flawless. So it's incredible. Like so many superstars, so many celebrities have started embracing this water.
Yeah, I can see it. Your skin is really glowing. So that's
thank you.
You're welcome. That's a good testimonial right there.
Yeah.
So that is beautiful. Definitely want for you to share the link at the end, because that's something I believe that a lot of people may be interested in. And even if they may not be interested, highly recommend them to look into it for their own benefit,
Right.
because healthcare, that's not the job of insurance companies or medical firms or whatever. It's our job, just like you took in your hands the education of your children, which as we mentioned earlier, education of our kids, that's not the responsibility of schools or the government. God forbid, that's our responsibility as parents. So same thing here for our health.
Absolutely.
Absolutely love that. So you're very welcome. So is this your main business?
Yes, even though I always say I help my husband, well, indirectly, but I help him in his business as well.
What does he do?
Well, my husband is an engineer.
Okay.
So he's very like innovative, and he builds fully automated parking garages.
Oh, wow.
So that's what he does. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Can you share with us an example of the most remarkable transformation you've seen from one of your clients of using the special water that you're working with?
Oh, the most remarkable is when one of my friends, I would say one of the people who came before me, started using this water. He had gut issues that he went to like several doctors, and his mom didn't know, okay, what next? His mom thought, okay, let's do a surgery. And then he started drinking this water, and a few weeks after, he went to the doctor for a checkup, and the doctor said, what magic did you do to your body?
Wow.
Like, we don't need to give you any medication. We don't need to put you on surgery, what magic did you do? So then he told the doctor about the alkaline water.
Beautiful. So now your business is twofold. One, educating people about the importance of drinking clean, proper alkaline water and how that is important for your body as a whole. But also in the process, you get handsomely rewarded because if the item is $5,000, so you get a nice chunk for that. So that's a great business model. Love that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Awesome. How long have you been doing this business?
2 years now.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
You mentioned you have a podcast. Are you using a podcast to help you promote your business?
No, I did not, but I think it's something I should start doing.
We can talk about that because that's what I do. That's what I teach my students. That's how I've been able to completely, do great things with it. So,
wow.
We'll talk about that after. Awesome. Now, wow, so many things we can talk about, and but let's start wrapping things up now. And to finish off, I'd like to ask you a series of rapid fire questions again, but this time on advices. Ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Love the attitude. Now, what would you say has been so far the best piece of advice you've received in your life?
Best piece of advice I've received is we are powerful beings and we can do so much.
Absolutely. Love that. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, what has been so far the worst piece of advice you've received? Other than get a job.
I would say I don't really have a worst piece of advice, but the worst piece of advice is when my friends told me, "Oh, are you crazy moving to Colorado?" That's the worst piece of advice. But looking back, my friends are like, "Oh, wow. Now I know why you moved to Colorado. Now I know why you guys chose to be in Colorado."
Why were they saying that? It's not like Colorado is a war zone, It's a beautiful place.
We decided to live, kind of have our own home away from the city, not close to the city. But with so much that is going on in the world, I'm so grateful that I'm in Colorado.
Not nature.
Right. Nature, it's good for the kids running around, fresh air. It's just incredible.
Being active and all that. Absolutely.
Yes.
Now, imagine that you were blessed with a time machine and you can go back in time and sit face to face with an 18-year-old Anne.
Yes.
What's the number one piece of advice you would give to her knowing all that you know now?
Number one piece of advice I gave to her is whatever happens to you, you don't blame it to others. Take responsibility for your life.
Bingo.
Yeah. Don't blame it on, oh, I was not fortunate enough because my parents took all the money and sent it to my sister. No. Stop putting blame on others and start taking responsibility for yourself.
I love that. I love that. And I realized something like this myself in my life. Since I had my spiritual awakening 3 years ago, is that I understood finally the power of questions and asking the right question. Like, for example, before when something bad happened to me, I would ask the wrong question, play the victim. Why me? What did I do to deserve this? Why? Right. This would only create like a vicious circle. Instead, ask a better question. And that is, what is this teaching me? And what is the lesson for me to learn through this, even through tragedy?
Exactly.
Because even through tragedy, believe it or not, nothing happens to punish us. Nothing happens to us. It happens for us to help us grow, to help us get to the next level.
Absolutely. Yep.
Love that. Now, I know that you're a fellow podcaster and that's awesome. Imagine that today on your podcast, you were interviewing the most special person in the world, which is yourself. So you're interviewing yourself today on your podcast. What's the first question that you want to ask yourself? What's the first question that comes to your mind? Don't think too much.
What are you here to do for humanity?
Powerful question. Can you answer?
My answer is, I'm here to inspire thousands of souls to unleash the truest, grandest, highest expression of themselves.
Love that. And you mentioned in your motto at the start that you're a messenger of inspiration.
Yep.
Tell us, what do you mean by that? Expand on that, please.
I've always loved to inspire people. Like even in school, some of my friends used to come to me for advice.
Hello.
Yeah, my youngest is coming. Say hello.
Hello.
So they always love to come to me for advice. And then when I was with Emirates, I volunteered to do something called critical incident stress management, which was free on my days off, to basically to be fully there for people who are like feeling low or feeling like who've lost their parents or who've just broken up with their boyfriends. So I always like to see others happy and to see others rise from their pain. And what I came to realize, whenever I inspire someone or whenever I see someone getting better from what I say, it fills my cup.
Love that. Love that. I'm totally with you on that. Now, the last question I want to ask you, and that's my favorite question I ask my guest, and that is, what is the smallest thing you've done in your life so far that has had the greatest, deepest, most profound positive impact in both your life and business? For example, for me, it's been starting my podcast. And by small, I don't mean something small. I mean the one thing.
The one thing I've chosen to do is to share my voice in an authentic way without not being worried about my accent, not being worried of my skin color, not being worried of where I come from, but knowing that someone who vibes with whatever I'm saying will get to hear the message.
Absolutely. Love that. Because, we all have a story. Our story matters. Our voice matters.
Yeah.
And this is why we are here. And then our responsibility to share that with the world.
Yes.
Awesome. Now, if someone wants to connect with you, Anne, what's the best way to do so?
If someone wants to connect with me, the best way is through my social media. That's the best way because I'm always there. So that's the easiest and best way to connect.
Can you share them, please?
That is Anne Matoke, my name, Anne Matoke.
So that would be on Facebook, on Instagram?
Yes,
Okay.
both of it. Yes.
All right. Do you have a website?
Yes, my link tree. I have a link tree. Yeah, which have all the links for the conscious water and like the products, etc.
We'll put that all in the show notes. And what is the name of your podcast?
My podcast is called Waterfalls Podcast because I love water. So I had to put the water element in there.
Awesome. Listen, Anne, I salute you. You're a true leader. You have an absolutely phenomenal story in every aspect.
Yeah.
The what I said, that's worthy not of books, but of a movie. So get to it.
Oh, I'm honored for that.
Very welcome. Keep shining your light. Keep blessing the world with your purpose, with your mission, with your water work you're doing, with your smile, with everything you're doing. Stay safe, stay awesome. God bless you, my friend. We're definitely going to be talking a lot more for the days and weeks to come. Thank you and have a wonderful evening. Take care.
Thank you. Namaste. Thank you.
Namaste. Very welcome. Bye-bye.